This video is going to cover the Reorder module in Control Center. At the top of the screen, we have 4 tabs: Orders, Order Requirements, Back Orders, and Scheduled Orders. The Orders tab is going to be where we're able to create orders and view all of your open and closed orders. A working order is worked on by someone on the corporate level, and then the store level. The store will review it and the office will submit it. A regular order is simply an order placed with no verification. At the top of the Orders tab, we can see the options to send EDI. This is where we will send the EDI data to the vendor right away. You can search orders by selecting the vendor and a date range. The Merge Orders button will allow you to manually merge any orders that you choose. It will bring up a second window with vendor and location options to filter the orders by. Mass Merge Order lets you select multiple locations to merge orders. The Add New button is where you create new purchase orders. From there, you can fill out all of the required fields: location, vendor, order comments, and order filters. Here we can look at all of the products on this order, or we can filter by specific departments, categories, or set up custom filters. You also have the option to check for alternate vendors for this order. Use Order Requirements From allows you to use order requirements that you have set up for specific vendors. You can also create this order as a transfer from a store, and you have the options for Store Review Not Required and Send to Store. You can schedule your order from this page also. However, we'll be going over the Scheduled Order tab to show you how to set those up later. The drop-down menu here will show you all of the available order methods. First is List All Products from Vendor. This will list all of the products from the vendor you select. Reorder by minimum/maximum. This method is set to order items based on minimum and maximum values. Each product is tagged with its minimum and maximum value. Whenever the system goes below the item's minimum value, it will order whatever is needed to get you up to that maximum value. This is done for each item. You will need a minimum and maximum quantity set on every item in the store for this method, but it also allows you to fine-tune your inventory level to have a specific quantity per item. Check this option if you wish to use the child item to calculate the parent item for your quantity on hand. Reorder by days in inventory. This is the most popular order method that utilizes your sales history. You can set a date range to analyze sales and set it to order a specific amount of days worth of inventory. The system will look for the item selected by the filter in that date range. It is going to average the sales per item, and it will tell you what your average sales would be for those items. You can choose a date range by weeks, months, by a custom number of days, or a custom range to calculate your average sales. Days of inventory. This defines average sales per day on hand. So if you enter 10 as the days of inventory value, and the average sales per day of an item is 1, it means you have 10 selling days inventory on hand. This method uses real historical sales data to generate average sales per day. So if you already have 10 units of any item in the inventory, whose average sales per day is 1, then you don't need to order anything at all because you already have what you need. Use item's minimum quantity. If this option is checked, it will make sure, regardless of what the system is ordering, it will have some fixed minimum quantity on hand, say 10 for example. If the system is suggesting 7 units of any item whose minimum quantity is set as 10, and you have 1 quantity on hand, then the system will automatically add a quantity of 2 so that the ordered quantity becomes equal to 10, the preset minimum quantity. This option, when toggled to yes, will never let you go down to the minimum quantity. Include sold items with 0 order quantity. Toggling this option to yes will let you know the item is sold on the order form, even though it may not have met the threshold otherwise to generate an order. Doing so enables you to make a judgment call on whether to order that item or not. Reorder by product sold replenishment. This orders exactly what you sold in the specified date range. What you sell is what you order. This method is not based on the current quantity on hand. Round up when child reaches a blank %. Items are sold as parents, carton level items, and subunits, pack level items. During an order process, the rolling up of a child item is done up to the parent level, in the replenishment order method, we can choose what percentage we roll that up. For example, if you're selling cigarette packs, not cigarette cartons, and you enter the value above 50%, say 70%, and since there are 10 packs in a cigarette carton, the system will round up the order to 10. This is good for slow-moving items that you may not want to order when a single item is sold, but you may want to order when you hit, say, 50% of your usual inventory. You can select the date range here as well. Use quantity on hand as reorder point. This option is useful when you wish to set quantity on hand as a reorder point. List all products from vendor with replenishment. This method is a combination of the list all and replenishment order methods. It allows you to place an order for all items without the filter, department, category, or tag from the selected vendor. Then it's going to look at the date range to look up the sales history for that item and place an order the same as replenishment. Reorder using blank form. This will create a blank order. You can manually add items that you want to order. Reorder using hybrid days/replenishment. The hybrid method is a combination of the days of inventory and replenishment. Newly created items are ordered using the replenishment method based on the number of days an item is classified as new, and all other items are standard days of inventory. This option is useful for new products that you don't have a strong history of sales for yet, so you can set it to do replenishment based on the average sales of a date range that you define. Weekly maxed reorder. This method is like the days of inventory method, but it utilizes weekly sales data. This is a great method to make sure that you never run out of stock for your products. If you enter the number of weeks here, say 6, and the system will look for the previous 6 weeks sales history for all the items that you filter it by. Items with 0 quantity on hand, how many to order when we have none in stock. Let's take a closer look at one of our popular order methods. When we select reorder by days in inventory, we can do it by a range of weeks, months, custom number of days, or even just a custom date range. So let's select custom number of days. And let's begin with our start date offset. Depending on the day that this order is generated, this offset is going to be the starting point when the order starts looking at our days of inventory. So for example, if I set this to 5, and today being the 26th, the start date would become the 21st. And we can set it to look at, let's say, a week of item sales, the last 7 days from that point. And then of course we have our days of inventory. That will be defined by how many days of inventory we want to keep our products in stock. We have a lot of different order methods to suit your inventory needs. The next tab, Order Requirements, is exactly how it sounds. You can set up requirements for specific orders. So for example, if we click Add New, we'll give it a name and select a definition type. So let's choose quantity based. Underneath here, we have minimum quantity to order. I'm going to enter 5 in this field as an example. On the right side, under Manage Products, this is where we will add the items that we want this rule to apply to. When we save, this item will not be allowed to be ordered unless it has a minimum quantity of 5 on the order. So if you have certain items that you need to perform a little bit stricter inventory control on, you can do that within Order Requirements. This is a great feature to order from vendors with order restrictions. The next page here is the Back Orders tab. This tab allows you to have a quick glance at what was ordered versus what was supplied by the vendor. The vendor supplies the ordered items and sends an invoice along with the order. The store employees checks if the items ordered are supplied by the vendor, and if the order is not completely fulfilled by the vendor, or if the items are out of stock. This type of order is logged under back orders. Whenever an item is shown up as being on back order, the item will be added to this page here as a line item along with the back order quantity. Back order items are populated with and without EDI receiving. That includes from the handheld, converting a PO to an invoice, and manually creating the invoice against an existing PO. The system will also fill out this page automatically when an order is received with EDI. The last tab here is Scheduled Orders. This tab allows you to view, edit, or delete your scheduled orders. we can create a new one with the Add New button in the top right here, which is going to take us to the Scheduled Order screen. So we'll give it a name. We can add comments if we want, and we'll select which vendor this is going to be for. If the vendor has EDI, we can have the order schedule to generate, and then once it's finished, we can have it auto-send to the vendor. Of course, we don't have to have it automatically send, especially if the vendor doesn't have EDI capabilities. If we want to make it mergeable, we can. So if multiple orders share a single location and a single vendor, then the system will merge all the orders together into one single order. If one order has 10 units of an item and another has 5 units, then the system will merge these two together. If you want to check for alternate vendors, you also have that option. If yes, then the system will notify you. If we have set up an order requirement and we want to use it, we can check this to yes and select from the drop-down of order requirements. If we want this order to be considered a transfer, we can set it up as a transfer from whichever location we choose. If you want to turn the store review off, we can check store review not required. With this, the order will be generated and not require anybody else to verify it before it is sent out. This option is not for the storefront, but for corporate to generate an order and send that to the store. And then the store reviews the order, makes the required changes, and sends that back to corporate for review. If we check this to no and leave send to store check to yes, and if we uncheck auto send EDI, once this order is finished generating, it will transfer to the store for a manager to open and review or adjust as necessary. At the top right of the screen, we have our order method, which we described earlier in the Orders tab. The next tab is Order Filters, so we can filter this order by certain categories, departments, or any tags we have set up. And then the last tab is Locations. Keep in mind we are in the Create Scheduled Order section, so if we're scheduling this, we can choose which stores we want to have this scheduled for. We enable locations by clicking yes here, and we can have it run weekly, bi-weekly, every month. We can choose our run day, and we can define the time that it's going to start. So once all of these have been configured, we just hit our Save button, and then we've got a scheduled order. That concludes this training session for the Reorder module in Control Center.